So we figured that part out. Next, what we'll do is we'll probably make it a bigger screen. So we actually go to a bigger screen. And once a person logs in, at that point of time, what we want to do is we want to show that, show that a person is logged in over here, right? So we'll actually click over here and we will say that this is a view controller. We'll add a view controller over here. Right, so we add a view controller over here, and in that view controller, what we'll do is we will actually click over here and we'll say we'll press Control and drag and drop this over here, and we'll say show. Right, so we show over here, and then the title of this we'll actually say dashboard. We'll say it's a dashboard or something, right? So we have a dashboard, and for this segue we'll actually look at this segue, we'll click on this segue and we'll say that this is segue login, right? Segue login. Okay, so what needs to happen is when you press the submit button at that point of time, if the email and password is verified, then we should be able to go to this screen, right? We'll just add a button over here just to say that yes, we are over here, like we can see that yes, there is something over there, right? So that is basically what we are going to do. Okay, so we are over here. Let's actually figure out, let's actually go to the documentation. So when we go to the Firebase console, we are over here. There is a go to docs, so right click and say open a new tab. So we come over here, and over here building, I think it should be in building authentication, and we want for iOS, and iOS we'll actually say get started. So getting started, we actually added all of this, we initialized the code, we initialized all these things. What we are looking to do is we looking to sign up, right? So we are looking to sign up. This is what we are going to do. So we'll come to our project over here, and we need to create outlets for this email, password, submit, we need to create an action, and status, we need to create an outlet, right? So we'll come over here, we'll click on this, and we'll say assistant editor. So we started with the assistant editor. Okay, we'll shut this down for a little bit, and then what we'll do is we will create an outlet for email. So we'll say control drag and drop, and we'll say txt email. Okay, probably rename this, refactor, rename, and we'll say txt email. Txt email. Okay, txt email. So that actually got done. We'll take the password and we'll say control drag and drop it somewhere. Why is it not coming? Cancel. We'll make some space and we'll select the password, and we'll say control drag and drop, and we'll say txt password. Right, so txt password. We need a label, so we'll select the label and we'll say control drag and drop, and we'll say lbl status. Yeah, lbl status. So these are the three things that we did, and now we need an action for submit. So we'll action submit, so we'll drag and drop this action submit, and we'll say login action. Okay, so we have all these things which are there. Okay, so that is good. Next, we'll just click on this view controller. So we are at this view controller over here, right? We'll actually increase the size. Command plus, I think, increases the size. Okay, so let's go back to documentation. In documentation, what we need is we need an email and we need a password, and then we can actually log in. So we will actually copy all of this. And even before that, we'll come over here and we'll say import Firebase auth, right? Because we are doing the authentication. So we'll come over here, we'll just paste it. So we'll say, we'll see what we need. We need an email and we need a password. So we need a text, which is actually email. So we'll say let email is equal to txt email dot text. We can actually do guardlet Guardlet email is equal to this dot text, else we actually return, right? Else we return. We'll also do the same thing for the password. Password, this will be txt password dot text, else we return. So we get the email, we get the password, and then what we'll do is we'll come over here and we will try to log in using that. So okay, so that is very good. What we want to do is we want to figure out if the email is actually a type of an email, right? So we need to figure out if the email is actually a type of an email, and otherwise we'll actually have to do that. We'll actually return the user from there, and we'll figure out if the password length is greater than 6 or something like that, right? So but even before that, even doing all of this, let's see if this actually works. So what we'll do is we'll come over here, we are passing the email, we're passing the password, and we get an auth result, and we have an error and stuff. So first thing that we'll do is we'll actually come over here, and then we'll say if error is not equal to nil. If error is not equal to nil, if the error is not equal to nil, which means that there was an error in logging in, what we'll do is we'll actually want to return from here, but we'll say before going out, we'll say lbl status dot is enabled is hidden is equal to false, and we'll say lbl status dot text will actually be equal to error dot localized description dot I think localized description should be fine, and then we just return, and we return. Okay, over here we should be doing a self because this is inside a closure, so we'll actually say this is self dot this. Okay, so that part is done. So we come over here, we figure out all of these things and stuff like that, and but if we, yeah, that we already wrapped. If we actually reach over here, then that means that there was no error and we had successfully signed in. So if we have successfully signed in at that point of time, we'll say self dot perform strong actually instead of self we'll say strong self. We'll take strong self for both of them. So we'll say strong self dot perform segue with identifier, and the identifier that we had was segue segue login, I think segue login, and sender would be self strong self. Okay, that is fine. That's all the code that we need. So just few lines of code, we should be able to log in, right? So we actually went over here and we had already created an user ashish@test.com, and we had a password, right? So let's actually run this and see how it works. Okay. Once we are done doing this, then we'll actually do the email authentication and all this other kind of stuff. All these warnings and stuff like that are Firebase warnings, so we actually don't care about that right now. Okay. So it is starting up. Okay, so this starts up. This looks pretty bland. We should probably have an icon or something like that over there, but we'll say ashish@desk.com, and password was just password, right? And we'll submit. We can see that we actually logged in and we are at the screen, so which means that we were successfully logged in and we are back over here. When we press back, it goes back, and then like the password is still there. So let's say I log in and I forget, and then I come back, like I want this to be cleaned up, right? So I'll say stop over here, and we will go back to the view controller, and when the view controller actually starts up, at that point of time we'll say txt password dot text is equal to blank, right? So it's just a blank. Okay, so that is good. So I think like we were able to log in and stuff like that. I'll stop the video right now. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll validate the email, and we'll add keychain to that, a keychain for the so that we don't have to enter the password over and over again. Okay.